I am here today with Zaga from Beauty Handmade. We had a conversation which was just out of the pandemic. People really enjoyed it, but one of the comments was that it felt like it was very pandemic related. And now we're not in the pandemic anymore. And thankfully, and I really just wanted to catch up with you to understand where you are with your business and to help other people perhaps on their business journey. We get a lot of people these days who are looking at skincare, doing things with fragrances specifically as well. We've had some people, so I know that a lot of the work that you do is highly relevant to them, and I'm sure they're going to be really interested in what we're going to talk about. But first, just give us a bit of a background about what you do.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for having me again. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and you know, so if I can help other people start in any sort of creative beauty industry, I'm very happy to do so. Yes, so I'm still in a perfumery. Perfumery, that's my passion, and the skincare formulating. That's what I still do. And yes, I remember talking to you in a sort of in pandemic kind of era where where we were totally confused as to what kind of business model to take, how to move forward. Was there any moving forward from that point on? So it was all a big confusion. But I hope that every crisis has an opportunity, and you know, we all have to take it. And it just the way, you know, crises, they do come in life, in business. You know, you have all sorts of crises, but it's what you do with it that is more relevant than to how hard it actually hit you. Yeah. So what I do everything bespoke. So and the reason for doing bespoke, offering bespoke service and offering bespoke consultation is because I believe that if you are starting in this sort of business or this industry, you must be authentic. And you must be different, because the market is huge, the market is saturated. But also, if you can find your niche, if you can find the gap in the marketplace that is relevant to you, not the gap that is sitting there unoccupied, but you need to figure out if there is an unoccupied spot in the marketplace that is relevant to what I do and that is relevant to my passion, then obviously you will probably do well. But if you are thinking in more commercial, in a commercial mind, that there is a spot in the market, but I don't know how to take it, or is this relevant to me, then I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's going to take you many years, and you might come out of that as being sort of very unsatisfied as to what you do and your business approach.
So when I hear you say bespoke now,
Yes.
are you talking like really bespoke, like super personalized, where every individual is getting something different from you? Because I know that prior to the previous conversation we had, you were looking at doing formulations and selling them at, if I'm correct, like on, you know, through third parties, which might represent loads of different skincare brands, and you were just going to be one amongst many of those. Am I hearing that now you're doing something that's a little bit more specialized than that?
Yeah, it's a more specialized. So I've changed the business model to cater for individual businesses or individual companies, or individuals who are starting in a skincare business. So what I mean by bespoke, that's a fully bespoke service, which means that I will take into consideration the brand that you want to create. First of all, I need to see where you're going with this, how authentic you're going to be, and what is your differentiation point versus all other brands? Who is your competition? And then I'll see whether there is any excitement for me to work with you. Because if I'm to work with you, it has to be interaction, in terms of that I need to know it's a very personal. And it's a lot of interaction between me and a client, in terms of that I want to bring the biggest value to your business by creating a complex, let's say skincare formulation that I create for you. It's going to be based on your specifications, but I want to be part of that team. I want to be part of the team that I tell you, okay, are we going in the right direction? Maybe your idea is very good, but the way you're going to approach it or the way you are thinking of moving forward is not going to be good for you, and you'll have lots of sort of turbulence on the way, and lots of disappointment. So I try to prevent people from making mistakes, but I also want to let them make small mistakes at the outset, because it's good to make mistakes at the outset because they are not that costly.
True.
But if you are halfway on your journey and then you realize, oh, this is the mistake I've done, that's going to cost you lots of money. But if you don't let your children make mistakes, they never learn. So I do let my clients make mistakes, but I try to work with them to change the course if I see they're on the wrong path. But also I'm not right. I come from the industry. I am, sort of being member of a Society of Cosmetic Scientists, and being consultant member to IFRA, International Fragrance Association, and the consultant member to the British Society of Perfumers. But I know what I'm doing.
So it seems to me now that when I was, again, going back, when I was last speaking to you, you had your own skincare brand. You were also doing candles, and you were doing an advisory service to people that wanted to set up their own skincare companies or own fragrance companies. Have you abandoned your own lines, or are you still doing that alongside the more personalized work with clients? How are you balancing that?
Yeah, at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm actually selling my skincare line. That's business has been with the brokers, but they decided to focus solely on helping others and doing my advisory consulting work.
Interesting.
So that's where I feel a better value in doing that than to I still have my skincare line I'm selling, but I will help whoever buys my business. I'll help them develop and probably stay as a consultant. But sale is not my thing. That's not where my passion is in creativity. My passion is in creating businesses and creating brands. So I do advisory. I have something called a Home Fragrance Academy. It's the first which I set actually last year. Home Fragrance Academy is for people interested in starting in home fragrance businesses.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn, you have an idea, but you need to learn the process of creating a business from an idea to the shelf. It's not that you're going to be sort of benefiting from a workshop that you come and make your candle. That's not going to work. You're never going to have a proper business by doing so. Because and what happened during pandemic, everybody was in a business of doing some sort of creative classes, how to make a candle, how to make this, and how to make that. But what people don't understand is when you're getting in a home fragrance industry, you're entering the fragrance perfumery industry. So you're basically competing with other very, very huge names.
Yeah.
Even though you might start as a small business, but then, hey, you need to think about how you're going to compete with Chanel, Tom Ford, all these big names, because sort of people are buying from a big name. People are still buying. Chanel No. 5 being still the most the fragrance that sells quite a lot. Yeah, but also what the trend now is more towards niche.
Yeah.
Niche perfumery, niche brands. So that's the reason why I set up perfumery business in Europe. So I have my own line of perfumes, and I do a lot of consulting, and from the UK. UK is my base, and that's where I do. But also I set up European, especially after Brexit, because so many EU people didn't want to do business with us, unfortunately, because of the paperwork. I set up entity in Balkans, and I have a retail physical store that I do have my own line of perfumes that are now sold in duty-free shops, and the business is called the Perfume Atelier.
Yeah.
So that's something I created in 2020, and so people can get the taste of what I do in terms of other parfums. But basically, perfumes and anything skincare and beauty is what I can help people with. So in terms of skincare, I can create a complex for you that is going to be something that you can possibly patent or you can trademark. And in perfumery, I can design a formulation of perfume for you that is never been smelled before. In terms of candles, what I currently do, we have a I now, instead of focusing on really small businesses, I do work with businesses that understand the value, i.e., having some sort of fund to invest.
Right.
And then I have a contract with the factories that produces candles in the UK. Which are my partners. I have no financial gain from that, but obviously it's my context. I have a factory in the north of England that produces cosmetics. So anybody comes to me, say, okay, I want you to do this, but I also want you to take care of everything else. That's what I do, and they get retail ready product.
Amazing. That's amazing. So it's really moved on from where you were before. Gosh, I mean, that's quite transformational.
Yes.
And I think that's also something you said at the very beginning, which is so important, is to be flexible, to be aware of where the opportunities are. And as you said, where your own passion lies, where you feel you can add the most value, and to be open to the fact that what you started with may not be where you end up.
No.
Right. And that this is a constantly evolving process. Being a business owner is, you start out with one thing and think, well, I just might make some candles. And then the next thing you know, you're like, that's not very interesting. I don't want to make candles. I want to help other people do something else. I mean, interestingly enough, as you know, as soon as you start looking on social media for anything, you start getting bombarded, right, with ads of a similar product.
Yeah. So
one of the people in our last cohort was making these fragrances, and I started looking at other I just started typing in like home produced fragrances or whatever. Well, the next thing I know, I'm literally just getting bombarded with all of these niche companies doing fragrances. And I realized this is now a big business, right? There are all these companies out there doing all sorts of different things. But what I noticed that I thought was really interesting was that they were all selling in 10 milliliter bottles, tiny, teeny weeny little bottles for like 20 quid, right? For these teeny weeny little bottles. And I noticed that everybody was starting with this, and then they were doing like a range of 3 for 40 or whatever.
Yeah.
The woman I was with, she'd never thought about doing something that little because it felt like an insignificant amount of fragrance. But I said to her, clearly this is like a thing now because, so the industry is constantly evolving, and clearly you are seeing the opportunities within that to support all of these up and coming brands that want to, I guess it's clearly from what you're doing, it's a growing industry, right?
Yeah. Perfumery and fragrance industry is really growing. The statistics and the research says that it will grow for the next 10 years substantially, and quite substantially. And there are different markets. It doesn't necessarily have to be UK. You can start a business in the UK, but you can focus on certain markets that are totally outside the UK. And there are many, many markets that I can possibly advise my clients. It depends really on what you want to do, but clearly, when you have a business, you have to do your own. It's like a relationship, really. You need to do an audit of where you're going. So that you might I started in one direction, but pandemic came, changed a bit of everything, and then changed in a way that it pushed you to think in a different direction outside the box, because I was comfortable in my business doing consulting and teaching, and I still do teaching. I do have something which is called 2-day start your business in 2 days. When you come to me and we spend 2 days from 11 to 5, and you go home fully equipped, and then from then on we work together on the fragrances, and I put you in touch with the factories, etc., etc. And it's very intense. So what we do in these 2 days, not only that you learn how to make candle or home fragrance, that's irrelevant, that's one part of it, but the other part is, you know, finding your niche, getting your name right, seeing what others are doing a case studies of niche brands, because you need to learn from them.
Yeah.
You need to learn from them, and why you're going to be because you're going to be competing with them. Then how to approach retailers, what they want from you, and why you're not getting where you want to get. It's a lot about branding, marketing, business plan, case studies, and a practical part. Because you learn a lot about fragrances, you learn a lot about candles. But hey, can you do everything yourself? Absolutely not. You can pour candle and sell it. That's going to be that's going to be your highest level. I don't think you'll ever make any business out of it unless you really work with a professional, whoever that is. Because it's all about perfumery.
Yeah.
People are not silly anymore. So the customers, they understand the difference between a good quality fragrance in a candle or a perfume and a sort of commercial low quality perfume. They see the difference, and they are willing. The good thing is they are willing to spend more money on a good quality product. And I'm all about good quality. And I think in business you have to have one goal is to create a high quality product, because if no marketing can help, if you don't have a high quality product, no marketing can help you. People are wasting their money paying into marketing, whereas they are not focusing on the quality. If you focus on the quality of your product, then the product itself will sell itself. And then the marketing will just enhance what you have. It's like a put making on your face. Do you want to camouflage, or do you want to enhance your beauty? You need to ask yourself, okay, I want to enhance what I have. I definitely don't want to look like someone else. But and that is the same here.
Yeah, and people are quite possibly because of social media as well, especially because of social media, people are very concerned with how they look, right?
Oh,
very concerned with how they look. So I am constantly getting bombarded with fragrances and now skincare products, especially because I'm older. So it's all about, anti-aging, which of course they're trying to change the name of to positive aging or whatever kind of aging. But again, bespoke formulations, looking at skin matching, skin tones, and now we have AI. So AI can do all sorts of things with regard to looking at the color of your skin and then finding a suitable product that's going to match your skin. So I think the industry itself is constantly evolving. And as you said, most of business is about not just creating something that's unique for a very specific type of customer, but also recognizing all the other things that are out in the market and where you sit within all of that stuff. And as these things are constantly evolving, how can you constantly evolve your business to keep up with those trends that are coming along? And that's where having a specialist like you, I suspect, helps. It's somebody who says, I really want to do this, and you say that was 5 years ago. Nobody's going to buy that anymore. Like what people want now is something quite different, because they're constantly seeing new products coming out all of the time. And I think this is especially true in things like, for instance, cosmetics and skincare, where I notice that it's just evolving just at such a rapid pace compared to what it used to, where, you had a foundation and you had mascara and you had eyeliner, and now, you have all sorts of stuff for your brows that like 50 different products now for my eyebrows that never existed before, and all of this. But going back to some of the other things that people within the industry need to be aware of, one of the things I was very aware of you telling me was about some of the regulations around making sure that you've got this, the standards that you need, and the thing is actually been tested, so it's not gonna, somebody's not going to erupt, their skin's not going to erupt in what,
Yeah.
do you advise them through all of that and help them through all of those
Yes.
regulations?
Yes, regulation is a big thing. So my advice to anybody starting in a cosmetic or perfumery or any business, it's because you have to check the regulation. You can't, it's illegal to sell anything to someone that is not safety assessed, or that is not safe to the public, as I would say. So I do help them with that as well. So all the safety testing is done by the cosmetic chemists, chartered cosmetic chemists, and in a lab. So and then there is a cosmetic law that is UK and EU, and you must adhere to that, and you must have a safe product to sell to the public. Even though when I do create formulation, it's my responsibility to make sure that the formula is safe and it's in line with the law. Otherwise, no point of me getting involved in that. And I'm not in a business taking people's money. I'm in a business of bringing value, and through that value and bespoke service, I'll bring everything under one roof. So you can have a formulation, you can have a rights to formulation, you can have a complex, you can possibly patent it, you can register it, you can have a safety assessment to ensure that everything is safe to be sold to the public. Yeah, and there are certain the problem with people making skincare at home. Some of those need to check the regulation. You need to check regulation as to the environment you're making your skincare in. And there are, you make skincare, but then if there is any water in there, you need to put preservative. What kind of preservative you're going to put? How much of it? As there are permissible levels of everything you do. You can't just splash anything you like.
Yeah.
And even making perfumes. I mean, if you make it for yourself, it's your own responsibility. But for example, if you're making perfumes, we have an extensive list of allergens that we need to sort of declare on the labeling information. And then also you need to stick to the regulation. IFRA regulates the industry. So IFRA tells you how much a certain material you're allowed to put in the skincare. Let's say, for example, Rose Absolute. How much Rose Absolute? People think it's natural and it's safe, but it doesn't mean that everything that's natural is safe. It's absolutely not truth at all.
Yeah.
It's a myth that people think, oh, I'll have a natural perfume. I'd like to have a lot of naturals in there. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely impossible, because the regulation doesn't allow you to do that. It's not, and they say, I want to natural. I want to be smelling on my skin for 7 hours. I want to do this. Hey, it's a big task and big ask and big challenge to do. And because as a perfumer and a skincare formulator, I have to satisfy the client, but I also need to satisfy the regulators.
Yeah.
It's a very, very challenging job to do. But then, yeah, there are, so you have to be experienced to sort of make it up, especially when you're making perfume that someone wants. So, and then also when we moving to material, fragrance companies and fragrance, the manufacturers of fragrance material are now looking at sustainability. It's no longer natural; it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've recently used the form of vetiver in a sustainable form, which is another thing people should be looking. So, how to have sustainability incorporate into your business. You first of all need to understand what sustainability is and what sustainability for your particular business is, and how you can is there any sustainability there that you can incorporate. But when I say incorporate, that I really mean it, not saying we are a sustainable business because we are, hey, we take a bicycle to ship it to your address. You need to look a little bit deeper, and there are ways to do that.
Yeah, and it's difficult because all you need to understand then where all of that fragrance comes from.
Yeah.
The actual raw materials, how it's been produced, where it comes from, and have people been exploited in the process of creating that raw material, which I suspect is really quite challenging.
It is actually, yeah. So people think, oh, I use certain certain material that I like. I use vetiver, I use patchouli, but then, you know, maybe next year we're not going to have that. You know, sort of, it's like wine. It depends on the climate, depends where it comes from, where is the best part of the world. And yeah, so what's sustainability in there? So and also the artificial intelligence now. So I don't know how is that going to play in the fragrance industry. I'm slightly worried, but then, you know, because people think that they might go on AI and create their own formulation, but it doesn't work like that. It's not in reality. No, you really need to. You really need a personal touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is that finesse, that the final touch in a perfume. So, you know, you can build a base of a perfume and stuff, but then the final touches are what make what actually what makes a perfume a different.
And how do people now find out about you? How are you marketing yourself?
I'm actually not. I never pay. I don't. I'm very old school in that respect, because it's all word of mouth for me. So people, you know, my clients, they recommend me to another client, and that's how I got the business. But yes, I'm available online. If you Google my name, I'll come up um, on Google. But then you can find me on beautyhandmade.co.uk for all home fragrance business. You can find me on theperfumeatelier.rs, which is a European business. Then you can see my perfumes there. You can find me on skincareformulator.co.uk, and FOM London Skincare is still there, but however, I decided to sell it. Although I had a very good year in that skincare during pandemic, but I decided to sell it because I realized that my passion is more helping others. That gives a little bit more deeper meaning to my life.
And finally, I'm curious to know, so somebody wants to create a skincare brand or a fragrance. What is, you know, just being entirely realistic,
Yeah.
how much money do they need to think about to just get something out there? One product, one fragrance. I mean, what's the, you know, there's obviously costs attached with all of the testing and everything else that they do. You know, what's the bare minimum that somebody can get something out into the market, even if it's just going to the, you know, your local market and selling it there with everything that you know that you need to be totally legal and to make sure that, you know, you're being responsible.
Right. In terms of obviously they need professional to work with. So I'm not gonna say I'm the one for them. I might not be the right fit. Depends on the project. I like to talk to someone kind of 10 to 15 minutes to understand what they want from me, and to
Yeah.
see whether I'm going to bring the value to them. And that's the best way to contact me. So send me an email. Let's have an initial free consultation to see where you're going, and then I'll see if I'm not the right fit. I will either recommend someone else, or I will say yes, come to me. So there are a few ways that people can work with me. People that have a higher budget, we can work together. And I would, and these people that have really high budget and understand the value, they come up with not one product, because one product is not enough. You're not giving. So you have to have either range of 3 to 5. Say, let's say you want to start a candle business, you must have a range of 3 to 5, 7 products, because you need to give your customer a choice.
Yeah.
If you have one, that's not enough. One is okay if you are in skincare business and just want to have an extension of the brand, and then have the one perfume that is relevant to a skincare, which is fine. That's good. That's fine, no problem. Or you want to introduce a candle. Let's say you are in skincare business, you want to introduce a massage candles, for example. Or you want to introduce like a candle for specific season, like Christmas, only Christmas limited edition or something like that. That's fine. But if you're starting as a perfume brand, you have to have a selection of perfumes, 3, 5, 7, and more.
Okay.
How much it costs, it all depends. You can't, because as an individual or business, you have to hire a perfumer.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way that you can mix your own stuff and then say, oh, that's a wonderful perfume. You need to hire a perfumer. It depends. I do have bespoke, but I also have something called customizable fragrances for people on a sort of limited budget that can't afford my service to create something from scratch, but they can come to me and they can purchase they can come to me, send me an email, say, I'm interested in creating my own line of candles. Do you have any fragrances off the shelf that we can buy?
I
And that,
see.
and I have that, and then I'll ask them questions such as what kind of fragrances you like, and they describe me, and then I'll do a set of 10 samples and send them to you in a nice box so they can purchase samples. It doesn't come for free.
Yeah.
And then if they can choose a fragrance they like, and they say, okay, can we go this with this one, etc., such. So there is something on a sort of low limited budget that you can buy fragrances if you know how to make candle. Or if you just want to know, buy fragrances, we can have a meeting. I'll tell you how to use them, and also you can come to my 3 hours a course or a workshop,
Yeah.
where it's in Chiswick. And then you can come and learn how to make a candle, how to make a rediffuser, and learn all about legislations and what you need to do. And then see from there, I'll bring my fragrances, whether you want to use my customizable library of fragrances and create something bespoke for yourself, or I do something like a set that you can really do, you can mix them together.
Hmm.
Like a set of fragrances. I have a huge library of over 500. So you tell me what you want to do, and I send you a set, and then you can blend them yourself, and then come to me for kind of audit, and then I can supply you with fragrances. So basically, I do have something. It's not that I only have high-end clients. However, I do work a lot with high-end clients, but I
Yeah.
also have small individuals, and I do lots with Americans as well since recently.
Great.
Yeah, and I do write for the magazines, for perfumery magazines. So people probably got me from there. I did some from Aromatica magazine, and now I'm preparing. And I did an interview for New Zealand magazine as to how to scent marketing. Scent marketing is also a big thing now. So it's scent branding. How are you gonna, even if you are, say if you are selling shoes,
Yeah.
or in a business of selling, sort of pasta, you know, we can create a perfume that is something in line with your brand, or in a form of a candle or form of perfume. For example, the restaurants, if you're in a restaurant business and you want that, you have that particular barbecue sauce and you want to give that barbecue sauce to your client, that's also, so it's a lot. I have millions of ideas that I can give people when they come to me. And that's the reason I need to listen to them first, see, are they the right person to do their business? If not, are there any fears in there? Because if you have a fear, what's stopping people to do business is a fear.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Always.
fear of losing. But then if you don't lose, you have to lose. It's a cycle. Business is a cycle. You lose, you win, you win, you lose. It's just that you have more victories. So that you then you have losses in terms of that you don't lose that. But that's a cycle. Like, and if you want something, go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad to like revisit your business and hear all the new stuff that you're doing. It's so exciting. And I can see that you're so enthused and just full of energy about it, and I think the last time we met, it was all a bit like, oh, so difficult. But now I can see that you're full of beans and
Yeah.
flying. So
Yeah.
congratulations, really. It's really, really great to catch up. And we'll put all the links and everything at the end of the video so that people know where they can get in touch with you. And
Perfect.
thanks so much for having a chat.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm very happy to help. And thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.